Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we are continuing our top 100 games of all time.
The definitive list.
Definitive, forever and always.
Until later on. When it's slightly different.
Of all time until the future.
Exactly.
Yep.
Until further notice.
Yeah.
All right, so today we're doing our 9th episode, which is numbers 20 through number 11. So you got to stay tuned for that top 10. It's a-coming, but you got to just subscribe to see more.
Exactly. Subscribe.
The video won't work unless you subscribe.
Yeah, it like...
That's not true.
Look, we're twitching. Ryan, twitch. Oh, but you subscribed, so now it's good.
That's fine. Thanks. In real time, we fixed it.
Yep, real time. All right, but as always, we're going to do ladies first. So I'm going to start us off with my number 20, which is Wandering Towers. This is a game where you have these little wizard guys, and you're trying to get them to go into this tower in the middle. Okay, but here's the catch. You draw a card. It determines if you're moving a tower or a wizard. And you can move the towers on top of wizards. So sometimes you're going to lose your wizard. And I lose all my wizards all the time. It's so much fun. It's so silly. This is like not a party game, but it gives you party game vibes. But it also has a higher player count. You can play up to 6 people. And so it's just a really fun, silly time while also not being a party game. I want to bring this everywhere we go. Whenever there's like a game night happening or whenever we're going to a family event, I always want to bring this game. It is just so silly. It's so much fun. And it's not a party game while still being like silly fun. It's great.
I like how you said I lost my wizards. It's like the gamer version of like losing your marbles.
I lost my
wizards.
It is like that.
My number 20 is Wavelength. This is an extraordinary party game, a true party game where you have two teams battling against each other. The premise is you have a range that you are given, two things that are opposites, or maybe not, but things like, okay, hot or cold, round versus spiky, things like that. And then you're given a random, based off this dial, this random result somewhere on this spectrum. And you have to give a clue that you think matches that result. So if it's between hot and cold, and you get like in the just slightly over here, you've got to figure out a clue that's going to give you, that it's going to get your teammates to match up with you. But what's the difference between this and this, or this and this? You know, it's all very slight variations, because I think the idea is, I think when people first play this, there's like, oh, that thing is definitely cold, so they put the thing all the way down here. This is definitely hot, they put it all the way over here. But in reality, it's, they're trying to give you a nuanced clue. It's going to put it somewhere in the middle. And what is that nuance? And being able to describe that without giving it away is really challenging, really fun. And we have so many inside jokes and arguments, like funny arguments about this game. Every time we play it, eruptions of laughter, roars of, you're totally wrong, it's this over here, or why didn't you give this clue, or whatever. We never not have just tons of laughter and arguments in a good way. Memories locked in forever with friends about this game. I highly recommend it.
My number 19 is Skyrockets, and this is the spiritual successor of Kites. This is a real-time game where you have all these sand dials going at different lengths, and you're trying to get them to flip in certain ways so you can flip a certain tile, one of the markers over, and you need to get it to the bottom of the board in order to win. So as this game progresses, you can switch the dials based on the card that you play down. There's going to be 1 to 2 colors that you can flip. But what's really fun about this game is it has like this campaign mode. So there's different ways that you can play. Like you have to preset out all of your cards, or you can only play 1 card at a time, or you can't look at the cards, or you have to seed your deck, or just all sorts of random things, different ways to play this game, which make it really fun and very challenging. I really like the amount of stress that happens in this game because it is a real-time game as you're trying to move these sand dials so they don't go on empty. And I just think it's really, really fun. And it's like so succinct, like this 10-minute game. You're not going to be playing for longer than 10 minutes, but you are, because you're going to play back to back. But the individual game is not going to be longer than 10 minutes.
All right, so I make a promise to only talk about one Stefan Feld game today, because you know how I love Stefan Feld. It'd be very tempting to talk about a lot of his games, but I'm only going to talk about one, okay? I promise. Today's going to be talking about Hamburg, which is a reimplementation of a game, Bruges. Oh, I already mentioned 2 games. Shoot, I broke my promise. But Bruges was a lot of fun, but Hamburg takes that same system and ramps it up big time. You have lots and lots of cards. Every round you're given cards. Those cards determine what your actions are, whether you're gathering different colored meeples, or whether you're gathering money, or whether you are building foundations, whether you're building buildings on top of the foundations. All the buildings do different things as well. It all centers around these different cards. You're kind of racing around trying to do different things before anyone else can do them, because you're going to get bonuses if you're the only one who's the sole leader in these various categories. You're going to get points based off of the buildings that you've built, the special abilities that you earn. Kind of go up this track. There's multipliers. And the game comes with a ton of mini expansions, so you can expand itself right away out of the box. Queen does that a lot of times with their games, like they call them Queenies. This isn't even talking about the Queenies. Just within the base box, there's like 6 or 7 different kind of mini expansions. And I highly encourage you to step your way into them, but then once you've learned them all, play with them all, because it is very rewarding having all these different dice results mean all these different things. Everything in this game kind of matters, and it's just a lot of fun just playing these cards. But don't get used to having them, because you're going to have to spend them. You know, if you find a cool card, don't worry about it. You still spend it. You're going to get another cool card later.
Yeah. My number 18 is Kanban EV, and you are creating electronic vehicles. There's different parts of different types of cars. You're creating them, you're testing them, you're doing all this stuff. You're working in a factory trying to get everything done. You're going through these steps, taking different actions, so you're progressing through the board. There is also this character, Sandra, moving about the board, and depending on what mode you play, she's either going to punish you or help you. We always play the punish you side, because that's just who we are as people.
Why are we like that? What's the psychology of that?
No.
Why do we like Mean Sandra?
No, Mean Sandra is the best. And then she just follows you around. She's like, "You're not good enough." That's essentially what she says.
Take some training classes.
Yes. And you get, it's just so involved and very intense. And I really like the aesthetic of this game. It's extremely clean, but it also has all these like pastel colors at the same time. It's just such a great game. It might be one of the heaviest games on my list. It's a heavy one. Yeah. So it does take you a while to get, well, it took me a while to get into it, but now that I've played it a handful of times, it doesn't take me nearly as long to get into as it used to be in times past. But Kanban EV.
My number 18, this is Bora Bora. This is by Stefan Feld. Shoot, I broke my promise again. Last time today, I promise. Super promise.
Do you want me to like peek at his list and let you know if he's actually telling the truth?
Bora Bora, don't do it. You'll be disappointed in me and in my list. Bora Bora, you have hardly any action in this game. You get to do nothing, but you have to do everything. You have the assistance of these men and women tiles that are going to give you kind of special abilities and incomes. You're going to have to utilize those, because they're going to have to help you get those extra actions that you desperately need. It's all driven by this dice, and the dice are kind of like a dice placement situation. The higher the pip number, the stronger the action is going to be. However, once the dice is out there, you can only play dice that are of lower value. So high dice are valuable because they're going to get you a lot of something. Low dice are valuable because you can play them anywhere without getting blocked, or more likely to be able to play them. So you have this thing where you play your big dice out first because you want to make sure you lock in that action. But wait, somebody else placed a lower dice before you, so now you can't place that high dice where you wanted to. You got to place it somewhere else, but you still need that action, so you have to place the lower dice underneath them. But it wasn't as good as you wanted it to be. There's a lot of these cards that can manipulate the dice strength and things like that as well. It's got a feed your people mechanism. Stefan Feld loves to have that feed your people mechanism. You're constantly having to...
AKA stress out your player.
In a good way. Good stress. All good stress. You're constantly having to do the feed your people mechanism. There's this different fish scoring. There's just so much going on here. Oh, it's pretty involved. There's a lot going on. It's a hard one to teach because you have to get people to be okay with lacking in things that you need. But it's very satisfying, especially with players who kind of have played it once before.
All right, my number 17 is Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, and this is a mashup of Between Two Castles of Mad. This is a mashup of
Between two cities.
Between two cities and castles of Mad King Ludwig. It kind of meshes the games together. What's funny is this game kind of replaced
Between two
castles.
cities.
Well, castles too. No, I really like castles still, but it did replace.
We did get rid of Between Two Cities.
Yes, there's a lot of things that we're saying right now, but we did get rid of Between Two Cities because this definitely just replaced that game for us. It was a lot of fun. It's the same idea where you're playing. It's simultaneous play, so you're playing these cards and you're building two things on two different sides of the castles. They have a lot of the same scoring parameters as between Castles and Mad King Ludwig. Oh my gosh, I am just like losing my mind right now. But it's really fun because it's one of those games that plays really well at a higher player count while still being a game, while still not being a party game. And I really like when we can do that, when we can have a higher player count game where it's not just like, did we guess the same word type of thing, but an actual game. And so I really, really like this one.
All right, my number 17, this is Freedom, the Underground Railroad. I'm a kind of person who, I don't read flavor text. I don't care about that. I think it's cool that it exists, right? But when I'm playing, I'm looking at symbology, I'm thinking mechanics. I'm all mechanics. I'm thinking about how to optimize the engine, things like that. This, thematically, is a game where I slow down and I'm reading all of the flavor text. What the theming is basically the absolution of American slavery. So you have to be doing two things at once. You're kind of working to free the slaves themselves. You have slaves, you're trying to get them to escape these slave catchers and get them to escape to the north. But simultaneously, you're also trying to change the legislation, raise money, raise awareness about anti-slavery movements, so that way you can kind of change the general public's opinion and then therefore abolish slavery and make it illegal, as it should have been in the first place. And so it's a very serious game. I do not take this game frivolously at all, because you don't want to use the phrase gamifying slavery, because that sounds so flippant. So I make sure I'm extremely respectful when playing this. And I get why some people don't want to play this game, because it does sound like, oh, you're just, whatever.
Yeah.
I think of it as an educational tool, so you can learn about Frederick Douglass and the debates with, Lincoln, or whatever the case was. All the flavor text matters so much, all based off historical events, and it's just very sobering, while still having a very, very solid, cool, cooperative game that is very tense, very difficult, as it should be, because this didn't just happen. It wasn't like people just said, hey, you should stop having slaves, and it happened. No, it was hard, and so the game should be hard to reflect that. Again, I use this as an educational tool, and just a very, very solid, strong game. Read that flavor text. It's one of the few times I say that. It matters.
Yeah. My number 16 is Legacy, the Testament of Duke Tracy. This is delightful. So in this game, you are a patriarch or a matriarch of a family, and you're like, hey, I am going to die, right? But I have all of this wealth that I have built up, and I need you, my children, to carry on the legacy of our family. So what you're doing in this entire game is just marrying people off, having babies, and building your legacy. And it is so much fun. It is such a table hog. Like, when you first see the game and you see the cards are so little, you're like, why do you have these little cards? Because you need these little cards. You end up having 4 generations of all these marriages that you're trying to build up, all these different things that you're trying to do, titles and estates that you're getting as you're building this up. Everybody is able to take actions. There's this shared board. Once somebody takes one of those actions, nobody else can take it, but you also have your own player board where nobody else can play on, and you always have those actions available to you. It is such a fun game. If you like, I don't, but if you like historical romances, I think you will love this game.
All right, my number 16, this is Luthier. Luthier is a game all about repairing and building these musical instruments, all different kinds of musical instruments. You have these patrons that are requesting certain kinds of instruments. You have these patrons that are requesting these certain kinds of, symphonies or musics to be had, these concerts to be put on based off of what kind of music they like. And it's it's a table hog. It's very grandiose. It has that kind of that romantic period, Baroque period style look to everything. Yeah. You have these different resources, different materials that you use to create the instruments. It comes together in such a way that it's just very, very smooth and impressive, despite being very big and grandiose. I've never played this and walked away just thinking, that was really cool. And the artwork is out of this world too. It brings you into that world. I just want like classical music playing in the background as I'm playing this game, like a little candle, a little sips of little beverages, whatever, just like little teas and things. I don't know. As a musician and as a gamer, this game kind of comes together mechanically perfectly.
All right, my number 15 is Luthier.
Dun dun dun!
Aren't we so cute like that? This is a great game while
You
you're
like
doing
it
that.
one better than me.
I like it one better than Ryan. It is this huge, expansive, grandiose game where you're trying to do everything. You have these workers that are part of your family because you have a family that you start out. A lot of them were actual
like Steinway pianos and things like that. Like
yeah,
they're all
exactly.
based off of real Luthier families.
Yes, and so you're starting this base family, and so you have a limited amount of actions based on the family that you have going across the board. You can potentially get other people as well to do stuff. And it's just a huge, expansive thing that you're trying to do as you're trying to get all the materials that you need to build these instruments, and then you need to finish the instruments and make them all pretty before you send them out. It is just such a fun game. Ryan and I do not back a lot of games. This is a game that we did back because we just liked it that much.
Like give us all the things. We want all the Luthiers.
Yeah, it was, yes.
All right, my number 15, this is Agricola. I would call this the great-great-granddaddy of all worker placement games. I know there were some games before that had some worker placement elements, but this is the one that really put it on the map. This is the one that made worker placements be a thing, and it's become one of my favorite mechanisms, and it does it so well. Again, it's got a feed your people mechanism, which adds a lot of great tension. The more family members that you add to the mix, the more you have to feed them, but then you get to do more actions as well. Lots and lots of cards in this game. These improvements. You also have different just kind of improvements, major improvements that you're going to be able to buy every game. Minor improvements that are different every time. You have occupations that you're getting to give your different workers all the different occupations that they can do. All of them are small engine building twists to give you a different edge over your opponent. The more synergies you can build up, the better. This is a game that I remember people just being it's such a big, crazy game. It takes 5 hours to play. And I think for some groups that's true. But man, when I play like 2-player with my brother-in-law, my best friend, we can knock this thing out in like 35 minutes.
Yes.
Even when I play with like 4 players, the gamers that I choose, it's still like an hour and a half. Maybe we just play too fast and loose. I don't know. But still, it's not the 5-hour scary, crazy time that some people are talking about. Unless you're just talking a lot or you're really weighing and measuring your options or something. I don't know. But a lot more accessible than people realize, I think.
Well, I did realize, Ryan and I realized this past fall that we actually play a lot faster than we realize. I don't know why that is. It's not a good or a bad thing, but we found out the hard way that it takes us like this long to play a game that I think it normally takes other people this long to play games. So that does influence how we talk about games. So we're like, we just play faster than most people. I think it's because we want to get more stuff in.
Yeah, more games.
Play as
Bus
many
rules.
games as possible. Yes. But that's just like a little side note there on that. Okay, my number 14 does not break Ryan's promise because I'm talking about it. And that is La Isla.
So it's a fun field game.
But
I didn't do it. I only talked about one.
Yeah.
I promised.
So in this game, you are going to this island, and there's all these creatures there that we thought were extinct, and you're researching them. It has a lot of different things going on in it. There's like an area control, there's a set collection, and then you also have this tableau of cards that you are using for special abilities, but only during certain times of the round. What's really fun about this tableau is eventually it's going to be completely filled, and you have to replace a card. You'll have to draw and replace. So you have to get rid of this engine you think you have going for you, but you don't because you have to get rid of something. So I just think that's really fun. This was one of the games that I was very excited there's going to be a re-implementation of because it has a really cheaper price point because the product is cheaper. Not the gameplay. The gameplay is solid and it's so much fun. But this was like a little, what's the word, chinky?
Yeah, just like really thin paper mats and cheap little plastic little things and stuff like that.
Yeah. But the gameplay like totally overshadows that, so it doesn't even matter. But I was excited that it was getting a re-implementation. My
number 14 is Sky Team. This is a 2-player cooperative game where you have a pilot and a co-pilot who are trying to land a plane. That's all they're trying to do. What's so hard about that? Everything. There's a whole bunch of planes in your way. You're trying to tell them, get out of the way, I'm coming in hot. You've got to get your brakes activated. You've got to slow things down. You've got to lower your altitude. Each one of the dice represents a different thing. And guess what? You need a lot of cups of coffee. Coffee is how you run this whole game because it's the way you manipulate dice and change the pit values.
That's how I run this whole game.
Yes. Coffee, very important. We played Unconscious Mind that was also
coffee
driven by coffee. You need that coffee to stay awake. And this is a very cool asynchronous thing. You both have two different roles, two different things that neither one of you can help each other with, but at the same time, there's some things that both of you can do, but are better or worse at. And there's a bunch of different modules, different airports that you're landing in. So most of the times you want to come and land in flat. But times you need to, there's not enough room for you. So you have to kind of tilt a little bit and then get through a gap and then level flat again. Different weird things like that. It's just an interesting game. We win this rarely, but it's still awesome.
All right, my number 13 is Jerusalem Anno Domini. This is a game all about you trying to be at the feet of Jesus at the Last Supper because you want to hear him speak, but there were no megaphones. It wasn't like he could see in front of the microphone. He didn't have anything clipped on that you just turned on and then also a little earpiece. And now everybody can hear him, so you're trying to get as close as possible in this game. There's a lot of different ways to do that, and there's a lot of different things that you're doing in the game, and it has this kind of a deck building component to it as well, but some of the super awesome cards, once you use them, they go back, so you don't get to keep them forever. So it's really cool. A lot of different ways to score little things in the game, but the main scoring comes from how close you can be to Jesus at the end of the game. I just think this is such a solid game. A lot of the game has Latin in it, and we are playing with our daughter who's been currently learning Latin the past few years, and she was able to tell us what everything said. I mean, you can kind of guess based on the pictures on it, but she was like, this is this, this is this, this is this. So that
even Jerusalem Anno Domini means in the year of our Lord.
Yes.
She was able to tell us Anno means year. And
so
that's so cool.
Yeah, so that was really fun to be able to play this with her, except for the fact that she's smarter than me now, and I can't beat her at this game. But we want our children to go above us, so I guess that's fine.
My number 13 is Power Grid. This is such a solid standard. It was one of the first hobby games that I played where my eyes were just wide open. This is what games can be. It can be more than just dice rolling and moving around a circle. This is insane. It was so much fun. Basically, you are trying to buy resources, buy power plants, use them in order to power the electrical grids to these cities. And the more cities you own, the more you have access to, the more power you provide. The more power you provide, the more influence you have, and therefore the more, lucrative your company is, or whatever you want to call it. And therefore, you want to power the most amount of cities with your power plants. The game ends once the whole board is basically filled in by everybody, and you have powered a certain amount of cities. And owned a certain amount of cities. We have played on, a dozen different maps. They all tweak the game slightly, and every time it's a blast. We have an annual gaming getaway that we call NumiCon after our last name, and one of the standing things we have to do is we have to have a Power Grid tournament. And Sandy, if you're watching, you're the reigning champ. Congratulations, but I'm coming for you. What a great game! I love playing this. I just love playing this game with my friends. It is never not awesome. Upgrade. It's got paper money. It's got the paper. Get rid of that. Play with poker chips. It adds to the experience every time.
All right, my number 12 is Three Sisters. If you have been watching our channel for any length of time, you know how much I love Three Sisters. This is a roll and write game. I was going to say roll and move, but it's not roll and move. It is roll and write. You have this garden, and based on the die rolls, you get to do different things in your garden. It is so much fun. It's one of those games that has, after just a couple of rounds, there's a ton of cascading abilities. So even though you only get, not a lot of turns, 12 die maybe in the whole thing. I'd have to actually count it up. There's so many cascading effects that you're able to do a ton, and you feel really smart about that. I like that about this game. I feel really clever when I play it. And it was a game that I enjoyed so much that I had to seek out the solo mode of it, so I was able to play it solo, which I also thoroughly enjoy. There's just another farmer in the game who means well but just messes you up the whole time. that's how she's described in the game. So I really like this. Three Sisters is just such a solid game. It's such a great game. I I imagine I'll probably have to laminate these sheets.
Just so we can make them.
Yes.
Because we're not getting through the bend of it because we played it.
Yeah.
My number 12, this is Luna. It's designed by Stefan Feld.
You're such a liar. You are such a liar.
I broke a lot of promises, but it's the last one today, I promise. Luna is...
Hold on.
Last one today, I said. Last one today.
He promises.
Don't hold me to it. I'll find a way to sneak his name in there again somehow, I promise. Or I don't promise. I don't know what happens. Luna is a game where you have these different meeples, and meeples all over the board. There's kind of 7 islands. Each one of those islands has a different special ability and action tied to it. So what you're doing is you are trying to get your people... Let me go back up. There is a priestess, this moon priestess, this moon cult thing going on. She's retiring, and now there needs to be a new one installed in place. We each represent kind of like a little sect within that religion, and we're trying to get our priestess to be the priestess. And so you are going into this temple. You are using these texts to gain area control in the middle of the board. You are going up this council track trying to gain influence. You are using your meeples around the islands in order to activate all these actions and kind of propel everything forward. But the moon priestess herself, who is retiring, is roaming around the board, giving out points wherever she's the most adored. You have one guy who's the apostate, trying to convince you that you're on the wrong side of events, giving you negative points. But you have an architect who's helping you build stuff, and he's roaming around the board as well. So you've got to have your meeples in the right place at the right times. It's not a Mancala, but it gives you kind of Mancala-like feelings as you're trying to map out where you need to be in the future rounds.
And it's all, what is that called? Open information?
There's nothing hidden. There's no cards, there's no dice, there's nothing random in the entire game. You can theoretically math out where you need to be at what times, but you still compete with everyone else of where to be at the right times as well, and the timing of it all. It is such a blast. This is from TMG, who's no longer around, but if you can get your hands on a copy, it is really, really fun, and the deluxe edition just ramps up the quality as well.
All right, the last one for me of this set. You guys, after this, it's the top 10. Like, how exciting is that?
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Big deal. It's a big deal. Okay, so my number 11 is Castles of Burgundy Special Edition.
She said it, not me.
I never made promises. I made you 0 promises.
You said you weren't going to talk about any more failed games. You promised.
I never said that. Rewind the tapes. It did not happen. I did not talk about that. Ryan is a liar. So anyway, in this game...
By Sponfeld.
Yes. In this game, you have this castle in Burgundy.
None of that's true either.
This game is really cool because you're rolling dice, and the dice determine where you can draft from. But what's neat about that is the pips aren't good or bad. A higher number or a lower number does not signify good or bad. It was the first game I played where I was introduced to that, and I just really like that. I've always kept that in my head as you're drawing tiles to your own player board, and then you have to put those or to your drafted area, and then you have to put those onto your player board, and they all do different things. Everything scores a little bit differently. There's shipping that you can do. There's just all sorts of little things that are happening. The deluxe edition also has expansions with it that you can play. Some of them are all of the expansions, and then this vineyard expansion that I really like, and I like to play every single time we play. It is just such a solid game. I personally believe that Castles of Burgundy is kind of like an essential for a board gaming collection. That is just an opinion. I don't want anybody to feel pressure to go buy something. I just personally really, really like this game. It's such a solid game. Gamers everywhere loved it. The artwork was so drab in the original that everybody was like, if you do a deluxe version, we will supply that. Like, we will buy this. We like this game so much. We're hobbyists, and we want like an amazing version of the game, and it worked. Lots of people got this.
All right, so my number 11, the last game I'm going to talk about today, this is Black Orchestra. This is another one of those heavier, thinkier, cooperative games. Very, very challenging. The theme of this one is within the German population, you had all these people who were anti-Nazi, but yet you have Hitler and the Nazis in power. So it's our mission as these German citizens to take out Hitler and his buddies. So if you've ever seen a movie like Bonhoeffer or like Valkyrie, they kind of showed you some of these real-life events that happened with these different German people who loved the country of Germany, but did not support the Nazis' evil, right? So it's just a very cool game thematically. But as you know, none of these attempts on Hitler's life were successful. So therefore, it's a very tough game to pull off because it kind of works thematically. So you have to collect different things. Maybe you need some weapons. Maybe you need some documents. Maybe you need to build a bomb, something like that, in order to take out Hitler. And you have to keep on trying because each one of these is going to fail often. And sometimes you can get lucky on a die roll and maybe make it happen early, but more often than not, you've got to just keep on trying. Don't stop trying. Don't save up for a perfect moment, because if you save up for a perfect moment, first of all, the SS, the Gestapo can come in and take you out, or possibly you can have things like just a bad die roll might mess you up. So you have to just keep on trying. Set up for an attempt, and then if you fail, find the new one, set it up again, and keep on going. It is a lot of fun, very, very challenging, a low win ratio. Things get more and more tight as the game gets on, but it all kind of follows the story of World War II within Germany, as well as kind of things are expanding within the Soviets fighting back. All that's represented in the game. This is, it's awesome. It's one of my favorite cooperative games.
All right, we did it. We're done. We talked about all of these games, but of course we have to remind you to subscribe so you can see all of our videos as they come out, and especially our top 10 games of all time.
Coming up next week. Stay tuned. Should be a lot of fun. Everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
You guys, thanks for watching our shenanigans. As always, we appreciate it. Over here, if you follow this link, you're going to find a playlist we've hand-selected, handcrafted just for you because you watched this video.
And if you check over here, this is a video that YouTube thinks you might like. So you can check that out if you want as well.
All right, we appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.